I'm going to take a look at the questions on my Patreon post. I only had one, which is understandable. I don't have that many patrons. I only have 10. They're fantastic patrons. I feel like it's the quality, not the quantity. Giorgia asks, when did you start being interested in RWBY and music analysis? Those are two different things. I started getting into RWBY from Rooster Teeth because I was already into Red vs. Blue.
Dude, we've been fighting for like 8 years. Haven't you learned anything about me yet? I'm a lover, not a digger.
8 years. It's that kind of long-term commitment to a series that I wanted to give. I must have been 13 or 14. And I really wanted to give my heart to a series. I remember I tried to do it with Inazuma 11. I remember trying to do it with How I Met Your Mother. Red vs. Blue actually gave me exactly what I wanted. RWBY was another Rooster Teeth project, and I thought it was cheesy at first because it was very anime. You know, at that time I kind of underestimated anime just because it was full of stereotypes that I thought were cheap. And also because I thought they were kind of like, every anime is basically the world we desire, and I don't want to really live in a fantastic world where everything is perfect, because I want to get used to the world I'm in right now. Anyway, yeah, RWBY was a silly anime in the volumes 1 and 2. I did like the fights though, and the characters, of course. The teams were made up of 4, the initials, everything fit well together, every team made sense, with the references as well, with the fairy tale things. It was very satisfactory to understand. There was a point where I dropped RWBY, and it was like the worst point possible. It was like the point where if I had watched a little bit more, I would have gotten hooked again. Volume 3, Chapter 5, and it was the last happy episode of RWBY. Because, in Chapter 6, Yang gets framed and disqualified from the tournament, and, the ball starts rolling. Right, we know what happens in Volume 3. It was 3 a.m. I picked up RWBY after having dropped it. I watched Volume 3 front to back, and it was like fireworks inside me. It was like one of the most intense experiences I've had up to date. It was like, RWBY has balls. RWBY's got guts, people die. I remember recognizing Crow's theme. I remember saying, oh, this character has a cool theme associated to them. And at the time, I never called them leitmotifs. I called them themes because that's what games did. That's what game soundtracks did. Like Final Fantasy has Aerith's theme, for example. And I think that's the first time I encountered the word theme. It made it very satisfying to hear it again in the song dedicated to Crow. That played during Crow vs. Tyrion. And that's when it occurred to me that, oh my god, I should listen to these fucking songs. I didn't even know I Burn, for example. After hearing Mad Luck Charm, I started giving lots more attention to the soundtrack. When the Volume 4 soundtrack came out, I was listening to Armed and Ready, with earphones everywhere I went, in the car, and I was fucking crying in the bus. And as I said, I don't cry that much. So, despite the fact that I do want to feel great emotions, which is what Jeff Williams gave me through music. Some people would argue that Volume 4 kind of rushed some elements of the story, and I can see that now. I didn't think it was a problem until I saw the potential of Armed and Ready, which went into a lot more psychological depth with Yang's character arc. So Armed and Ready talks about the stuff that cannot be seen in Volume 4. And then Volume 5 came along. My favorite song was All Things Must Die because I was in a very metal mood. I was waiting to sleep in my friend's bed, and I think I was singing All Things Must Die because it was the summer, so that's when the soundtrack comes out. Black out the sky, all things must die. And I was like, what is that melody? What does that come from? And then, it clicked. It's I Burn. Can't hold me down. I was crying in bed. I was like, oh my god, no one noticed this. No one says this. No one noticed it. If I say it, I'll be the first one in the RWBY community. It was a huge deal for me. That was the spark that made me want to tell the world about RWBY music. That was huge. I think it's still one of my biggest videos today because it's still one of the concepts that I hold closer to my heart. That's how I got into RWBY, and that's how I got into RWBY music analysis. Thank you for the question. I took like 20 minutes to answer, but I'll cut it down so it's bite-sized for you fans.
This is my fight too!
No, it's not that. It's...